Okay, so I tried this several times on Facebook to go live, and I never have a problem going live on Facebook. It's always pretty simple, quick, fast, awesome. Not today and not Monday. Apparently, everything wants to come against me. But I've been trying to be obedient to the promptings, and so this episode is going to be all about something we all need, but none of us want to go looking for, and that's a little bit of healing. It's called hope, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and start some of this. I know some of them are gonna come and join us from Facebook. Hopefully, they can come and visit us on Instagram and still follow along. But if you can, just go ahead and let me know in the comments that you can hear me and the video's good, so I know just to keep going. So, this thing about healing, we've been on such a journey, and this is what it's all about. These little snippets are going to be bringing you along for the ride, and just kind of sharing with you heart to heart what we've been through, what I've personally been through, and where I am at now. And I'm grateful for. All right, thank you, Court Nicole 84. Appreciate it. Okay, so healing. Favorite quote from Saint Pope John Paul II. We are not the sum of our weaknesses and failures. We are the sum of the Father's love for us, our real capacity to become the image of His Son. We are not the sum of our weaknesses and failures. Okay, did everybody get that? Not because of my mistakes are going to define me who I am. Not because of my failures, my disappointments, my regrets, my shames, my all of that. That does not define who I am. And so this is why journeying into healing is priority. If it's not on your to-do list, then let it be a new day for you and put it on there. Okay, so we are the sum of the Father's love. That's really who we are. We are His. We are beloved sons, beloved daughters. And some of us have too much hurt that we can't see ourselves in that reality. And so we're going to kind of go a little bit step by step of how to get us there, what it's going to take. Thank you all for joining me. Hey, Cynthia, I'm glad you found me. It's horrible. It's freaking crazy. Hey, Chris, thanks for joining us. It's bad. So I'm so glad you guys followed us into Instagram. I'm not doing it on Facebook Live anymore. It's just ridiculous. I quit there. So anyway, healing. We are not the sum of our weaknesses and failures. We are the sum of the Father's love for us and our real capacity to become the image of His Son. That's a reality we need to all tap into. How are we going to get there? Hey, love you too, beautiful. Okay, healing. And now we're going to dive into humility. Okay? Nobody likes the other H word. We have to admit our wrongs, our faults. We have to own up to it. It's not fun. I get that. It sucks to have a mirror put in front of you and you're looking at all your ugly stuff. That I totally get that. But that's what we have to do. And I like to call that surrender. There was a time in my life where I had really screwed things over so hard. I lost my marriage for a few years. I had got to a point where I lost our children. I lost the job that I wanted. I've lost our home, my vehicle. I mean, it was bad. And all this came about because I was doing things my way. Doing things all on my own. I didn't ask who it was going to hurt, who was it going to affect. It was all about what I wanted. And it was my way of controlling my life. Okay, so those of you who this sounds familiar to, God bless you. I will keep you in prayer. Thank you, Deanne. I love you. But when we are in control of things, when we tell ourselves we are in control of things, we set ourselves up for some serious falls. Because in reality, we are not in control of any of it. Okay? Let's get that clear. We are not in control of any of it. And when we control, We are admitting to a fear. You heard that right. When we control, we are admitting to being afraid. Yep, because it's hard to let go. And those of you that love to be in control of things, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You don't want to be let down. You don't want to be disappointed. You don't want to regret. You don't want to make mistakes or have someone else make mistakes for you. And so when we try to control our lives, there's too much fear involved in that. We're afraid to trust. We're afraid to believe. We're even afraid to hope for something more, for something different. And so the first thing we have to do into healing, in that path of healing, is to be humble enough to look at our faults, to admit our wrongs, and to surrender. Surrender. Take a good look at ourselves. Hey, Fatima, I'm glad you joined us. I miss you, little one. Okay, so if we don't reflect on who we are and where we are and what we've done and how much we've caused some pain and some craziness in our lives, we are stuck. We get stuck in a place that we don't want to be. I love you too. And so this is the part of humility. We have to humble ourselves. That's step number 1 into healing. Humble thyself before the Lord. So how do we do this? Where do we do this? I want to get started. Sign me up. Go to a retreat. Find a retreat. And I highly recommend, if you're a man, if you're a woman, go to a men's retreat, go to a women's retreat. There's just something about being amongst your brothers and amongst your sisters. We can relate to one another, and this is part of the accompaniment that we're made for. We're made to be one with one another. We're made for this communion, and a retreat, a conference, is a great place to begin some of this work. Okay, so don't think that you have to start doing this by yourself. And if you want to, that is fine. I highly recommend going before Jesus, sitting with him in the chapel, sitting with him before the Blessed Sacrament, sitting with him outdoors. Take a journal and just pray, reflect on bringing out some of that stuff that we're not so proud of. Yes, I got some of that still that I need to handle. So pray for me, I will pray for you. Okay, so we're talking about healing. First step is humility. Surrender, baby, surrender, because that's what it's all about. Okay, the next step is you got to dig deeper than that. What? I know, it's so crazy. But when we dig deeper, the first step is admitting our faults, our wrongs, our brokenness, putting it all out there, and then working through some of that, healing some of that, having God restore that. But the next step is digging it a little bit deeper. Now we got to reflect further. Look at those places we don't want to. Yeah, those places that we're not so proud of. Maybe I did something wrong that was horribly wrong, or something was done wrong to me. Maybe it was something that someone, in my upbringing, maybe there was something there. Maybe there was something that I missed out on. It's crazy because some of this healing stuff has really seeped into everything we do in ministry now, because so many of us think we don't need it. We want to run away from it, and we as long as we keep that rug over it, we're fine, we're good, let's move on. No, because if you're honest with yourself, you realize that it keeps coming back, and it keeps coming back, and you keep repeating the same mistakes, you keep repeating the same disappointments, you keep going through the same struggles, and you're trying to cry out, when is this going to stop? That's when you need to reflect. Get some healing. First step, admit it. Humble thyself before thy Lord. Second step is start digging deeper. Especially those places we don't want to go to. But you're going there with him, in him, and through him. You are never alone. Do not despair. You are never alone. And this healing process is awesome to journey with others. You have to have support. You have to have brothers and sisters that are willing to lift you up in prayer, especially when you're struggling with trying to dig deep and you're fearing. Maybe something's not, you just don't want to do it. And don't be discouraged, because that's somebody else out there trying to keep you from being wholly, fully alive with who you're supposed to be. Okay, so listen to this one from the Catechism 1879. It says the human person needs to live in society. That means within community. That means we support one another. That means we journey this with each other. That's what we're doing here today. And I hope that I can continue to do this with you, because I've already gotten messages from some of you that you appreciate this, because it's really hard to talk about some of this stuff one-on-one, maybe even face-to-face. But hey, whatever it takes, this is what it's all about. I am trusting God with what He is doing and just being obedient. So please keep me in your prayers. So let's recap. Healing. First of all, we're not the sum of our mistakes and our failures. We're not the sum of our disappointments, regrets, and shames, right? Nope, not at all. We are the sum of the Father's love for us. We are the sum of the Father's love for us, which means we are beloved sons and daughters. So hear that message loud and clear right now. Write it in your mirror as you're getting ready for work. Look at it every single day and believe it with every single fiber in your being. First step into healing is humility, admitting our faults. That's humbling thyself upon the Lord. Okay, that's hard, but it's about the surrender. There's so much freedom that comes in surrendering. And it kind of talked about a little bit of where I was stuck, just screwing things over left and right because I was so afraid of letting go. And that was me trying to control every situation and area in my life. Well, I screwed things, those of you that know me, I screwed things pretty hard where I lost everything and everyone I loved. Don't let yourself get there. Don't let yourself get there. Humble thyself, admit thy wrongs, admit your faults, and get some support. Plug into a retreat. Find a men's retreat. Find a women's retreat. Find some kind of a conference, a retreat, a healing event, anything that'll get you started. Okay? And then spiritual direction is always great. There's awesome spiritual directors. You just gotta find them and get in touch with them, and they can guide you and help you through this as well. Second part of seeking healing is digging deep. Reflect a little further than that. And that's not so fun, because we have to look at things we haven't looked at in forever, or we're ashamed to even look at. But that's what it's going to take. And then this is the awesome part, is when you start digging deeper, realize that there are communities out there that will support you. There is so much goodness in allowing others to journey this with you. One of the great benefits and blessings that I got from this was being able, sometimes it's really hard to know who we actually are. We think we know who we are, but people around us, our loved ones most especially, they see a totally different person sometimes. Yep, that person. And that's who you need to confide in. And for me, a lot of that time, it's my husband. So marriage is that community for me to help me know who I really am. And he helps me be humble enough for the changes that need to come. And vice versa. Not only marriage, but family. Whew, our children tell us exactly who we are just by giving us that look. And so that's humbling, right? Yeah, it's a bit humiliating, but it's a good humbling because it spurs action. It stirs the heart for, I don't want to be that person. I don't want to regret being that way. I don't want to be ashamed of not loving them fully. So help me see where I need to do better. Okay? So our communities can be our marriage, our families, and then your church families. There's so many awesome groups in every parish, everywhere. You just got to be willing to look. And that's part of this journey. You have to be looking outside of yourself in order to truly find yourself. Hopefully that makes sense, because it most certainly does to me, because I know who I am when others help me see who I am. And then there's no hiding or denying or running away from that. So, because it's right there. It's looking at me in my face. So, all right. And ultimately, the end result is hopefully hope. Okay? We go through this healing process in order to find hope. Because so many of us get stuck in a place of unhealing or avoidance or distraction that we even get to a point to where we're hopeless. And let's not let that be where you're at. Hope means that we believe that there's something more out there. The virtue of hope keeps man from discouragement. Remember that. Catechism 18:18. The virtue of hope keeps man from discouragement. So do not be discouraged. Take courage and go there. Healing is huge. Healing is priority. Healing is a must in order for us to become who we were made to be. So, be not afraid. Another John Paul II quote I love. Be not afraid. Take the challenge. Begin that journey. If you have any more questions on this, I will love to come and revisit, maybe drop some comments even after this post and let you know, most especially, the most helpful resources that I've had on this healing journey has been awesome books by Dr. Bob, and it's Be Healed, Dr. Bob Schutz, and they are out of Tallahassee, Florida, and his second book called Be Transformed. Awesome, awesome, awesome healing material that everyone can get, grasp, and right there, right where you are. You don't gotta be pretty, prim, proper, polished up. Nope. Just dive in, read, and allow yourself to begin to receive some of that healing. One last note. Please keep us in prayer as I persevere in sharing with you a lot of what I have received. The only point in doing this is to be able to be an encouragement of love, of His mercy, and His truth. And so hopefully that will help you and others like you, like us, because we're all journeying this together, to be loving, fully alive. So thank you so much for joining me, and you hung in there. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It wasn't so long, and I'm so glad. Hey, Hannah, thanks for showing up. Chris, Dee, thank you for staying with me, and Fatima, thank you so much. Hopefully, we can keep going and doing this more and more. But for now, that's all I got. Healing. Check it out if you missed some of it. Love y'all. Bye.